I love where you're at with the whole Suzuki thing too. Like going from HRC, you had the world's sickest off season where you tested all the different bikes, and then you landed back at Suzuki, and everyone's like, "The f is he doing?"
I know.
And
Everybody always thought they knew what I was doing like weeks before. It's just funny. You read all kinds of stuff, right? But yeah,
but you ended up where you wanted to be,
yeah.
and that experiment has worked massively.
I'm not gonna lie. So after I went to Paris, did really well in Paris, right?
What bike did you ride in Paris?
It was the Firepower Honda team with Yuri.
That's right.
JB was like my teammate. It was just like when we were at Factory Honda in a sense, and we had such a good, like, honestly, some of my funnest times racing. Like I'm so close with JB, right? Like
He's the best.
I really look up to him. He's like a mentor. He has this inner calmness. Like he's pretty much been through like the tough times with me, and saw me at rock bottom, or when I felt like I was at rock bottom. And so he was always there for me. And then that time, right, like we were just teammates again. We're traveling the world. We're doing World Supercross. We're going to Australia. So we were always together. Up in Salt Lake for the residency, we were all the entire family and me and Court, and that's when Court was pregnant. We rented a house and stayed up there for 6 weeks, and we've gone on so many trips together. So he's like really, really close to me, and I'm close to him. So went to Paris. We had an insane night, or both nights really. I ended up becoming king of Paris, and JB was on the podium. And obviously I wasn't with HRC anymore, but I was still in a Honda, right? So I valued that a lot, what I had. Like, we haven't done much testing, but I was riding really well, and I came off of Paris, and then, that was that door open to be with the Firepower team. So I still wanted to ride a Suzuki. I came up to, I may have been actually, I think I went to Barcelona after that night to go ride the Starkvark.
That's right.
And then from there I went, flew to Madeira, I believe. It was during that time. And I wanted to ride it. I was trying to stay open-minded. You can't make a decision until you've crossed all your boxes. And so I was very open-minded, but also valued what I had with Yarif. It was, kind of established. We'd done World Supercross together. I was feeling pretty good, and I knew the guys really well. That was really important to me. Martin, Davalos, like we've been longtime friends. Really like him. Yarif and the entire crew. Like, I don't know. It just was very new to me too, because I was with HRC for 6 years, right? Then I was with RCH, and even with KTM, I was for a long time. So it was a little bit new territory, being with another team, new people, new everything.
And it's like technically a step down.
Yeah, like I said, I established a winning motorcycle, and I could ride well, and we did Paris and like World Supercross. So I had something there where I had a base.
Yeah.
Whether that's bike, myself, the people, like relationships with the team and everything. So I had something established there. So I came to Madeira, and I don't know, I was not 80%, 70%, but I was like, leaning towards Firepower because I know those guys and we've had a really good thing. So I came there, and as soon as I rode the bike and Larry was new, like there were definitely a few new people on the team. So it wasn't all warm and fuzzy right off the bat. I think everybody was trying to learn each other, figure out. Yeah, like it was a little bit different. But nonetheless, like I actually liked going to Madeira, and I liked riding their tracks. It just felt different. Like their shop's right down the street, and I rode the bike, and I don't know, I just had something, felt cool to me, and it felt familiar in certain ways, different but familiar. And in general, though, when I rode it, there was a lot of work that had to be done: motor, clutch, suspension. But I felt like the bones of the bike were good, where I'm like, man, like this has some stability. Like I don't know, I feel like I could figure this out. Of course, it was a big gamble, right? But then, yeah, going that direction was actually, even for myself, a decision that I almost didn't expect. But I really went with my gut, and I wanted to do this. There was something there that I really liked, and ultimately, I wanted to see a different color front fender. That was like, after being with one brand for so long and feel like I had my struggles, like, bottom line was that I wanted to see a different color front fender for sure.
Yeah, it almost like fits your personality in a way too. Like I feel like there's always just been an element with you of like wanting to do your own thing and like wanting to like be your own guy. I just feel like making that call, you kind of said fuck you to everyone else's expectations and the industry and the factory, right? Not the industry, like that's probably the wrong way to say it, but there definitely felt like an element of that.
It's probably
and you
unexpected,
were like,
right?
Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch me.
No, and during that time, it gets brought up on podcasts and whatnot. And I even look back sometimes because in that very moment, I'm honestly just like, I'm living my life. I have no team, no nothing. And
It
there's
would have felt so good.
a lot to figure out. And just how much cool shit I was able to do in a short period of time. And honestly, me posting about it, I never thought about like, oh, I'm going to mess with these people, whatever. It was purely just like, hey, I'm riding a Yamaha over here. And, and then of course, I never rode the Cowies. I never rode the PC bikes. They got done pretty late.
Oh, so you didn't get to ride that Cowie they built
No,
for
I
you?
actually never did. I hit up Mitch and, building bikes and stuff. Like, they obviously has a ton of work to do with the 250 guys and his actual team, right? But, like, I felt like I needed a backup plan big time, Like, at one point I was like, oh, maybe we'll just rough it for a little bit, I get Mitch to build a couple of bikes and we'll just, like, I'll ride the first few rounds and, I don't know, just see if we can do some damage that way.
Yeah.
It would have been a cool story, too, because the thing is, like, every time I feel like I'm backed in a corner like that, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have like worked my ass off and like really, 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 really tightened everything up to like make this thing work.
Well, like you said, you like that stress.
Yeah, you're right. I function the best under stress. Yeah.
Dude, it's weird when you say that. Like, I feel like because stress is a hormone, like it's a chemical and it's a drug, really, if you like break it down, right? I feel like people that spend their whole life doing extreme sports or come from like gnarly backgrounds with like gangs and violence, and I feel like there's a level where you get addicted to that stress hormone and you get addicted to that just like a drug, dude. It's pretty crazy.
I would agree. It's and then it could be things like whether you're crunched for time or you have so many things scheduled in one day and there's things that you don't want to do, but you have to do it anyways. And you're kind of just like trying to juggle time and then going racing on top of it. But then again, like I said, it's when I'm almost at my happiest and, you got to just figure it out. How can you make the best situation of whatever your stress could, is or whatever. Like I said, not everybody feels the same every single day and you may not have a good day of riding. You're about to go racing, like, work on yourself, calm that down a little bit, and figure it out. So yeah, I don't know. It's people always want vacation and taking time off and whatnot, and
you
as good as that sounds, sometimes,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't get the best out of you.
No.
So, of all the bikes you rode, do you think that it maybe gives you a bit of a perspective of the guys that you race against, where you're like, I know where their bike's going to be good, or I know what they can do there? Like, does it give you any info?
Yes and no. There's definitely things you can take away about, like, when you jump on a Yamaha with whatever suspension, it could be stock, certain bikes have certain characteristics, right? And then you're really in tune with your bike. If it tucks the front or if it squats in the rear or like it feels heavy or it feels nimble or the gear, like whatever it may be. You get the general idea of riding, whatever bike you ride, you get a general idea. Having said that, though, I have noticed that even on my own bike, like it's crazy how certain settings can make a motorcycle feel. And then you can change, like you could be so unhappy and it feels like shit. It's hard. It doesn't. And then if the shims align and everything aligns and you figure out after trying, and then all of a sudden you have a motorcycle that you really, really like, that's how crazy settings are sometimes, and, ride a stock bike and then like Eli's bike might feel completely different. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways you can go.
There's a big window.
There is a big window, but yeah, overall you can just tell if a bike is stable and has a big window and you can make changes and it doesn't just completely throw everything off. Yeah, you can get an idea for that for sure.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.